Damn.
147. Shit, if I
147.
tap that chin, you know he going to sleep.
I already know. I already know he
ain't
is.
got no chance.
I already know he is.
Said no chance.
With all the hype going on in the boxing community, things are about to get more heated as Gervonta Davis has issued Terence Crawford a brutal knockout warning in their potential matchup if they fight at 147 pounds, shocking boxing fans worldwide. Gervonta "Tank" Davis, known for his remarkable fighting style and charming personality, is no stranger when it comes to calling out boxers for a battle, but it looks like this time he has really hit the mark with his choice. After getting countless knockout wins, the recent one being against Frank Martin, Tank has earned himself a seat in the Boxing Hall of Fame, which gets acknowledged by many legends, including his former foes Frank and Ryan Garcia. Martin, despite brutally losing to Gervonta, could not keep himself from giving the Tank the acknowledgement that he deserved. While talking about their bout, Frank commented how Gervonta possesses a power that very few have these days in boxing, and he uses this advantage to get an edge against his opponent.
Is it really like devastating power?
I mean, he got power, you know what I mean, but it's more like he do a great job at landing this big shot. You know, he know how to land that shot. You know, hit guys on the button and just get him up out of there, you know, because
Ryan, while giving his due to Davies, emphasized how he is an excellent opponent and a ferocious fighter who can cause a lot of trouble in the ring for anyone no matter how skilled you are. Ryan also gave Gervonta advice to work on his movements, as that can be his weak point against a quick fighter such as Terence Crawford. He said, "I think he does struggle with activity. I know he caught me with a good shot, but I think somebody that is just a little bit more disciplined than me and has a little bit more activity can give him a lot of problems." He further added, "You just got to be careful with Gervonta and play it smart. I didn't play it smart." With all this praise and appreciation, it looks like Gervonta is now up for another huge bout with the one and only Terence Crawford, who can only be called by many as a hard nut to crack. With his spectacular fighting style and vast experience in almost every weight class, Terence too finally seems to be ready for this whenever the opportunity arises. For a long time, there has been a possibility of a fight between these two, as it's not new that they have called out one another, but things may finally see a result, as recently Gervonta Davis came out and stated that he will knock out Terence Crawford if they were to ever meet at 147 pounds, starting the drama all over again.
Question for you, Tank. At 147, how does a fight with you and Terence Crawford look?
damn.
147. Shit, if I
147.
tap that chin, you know he going to sleep.
I already know. I already know he
ain't
is.
got no chance.
I already know he is.
Said no chance.
I got round 5.
Shit, I got round 6.
We'll go with that. I'm gonna put my money around 6.
Bud, after hearing about this recent call-out, has responded saying that this time he is ready for him. He stated that Gervonta seems to be becoming cocky after getting knockout wins, but he would most definitely fall when he fights him. Terence even made an amusing comment on how he is going to wait for him at 147 so he can move up from his 135-pound division. He said he got the confidence in himself that he believes that he can do that because he's been knocking all these fighters out that he's been in the ring with. So no knock to Tank, but there are definitely levels. He further added, if he thinks he's going to knock Terence Crawford out, he has another thing coming. I'd stay at 147 lbs for him. That's a big money fight, but nobody's going to give me credit. Tank's like 5'5". He's a little guy. If you are a longtime boxing fan, you are aware that Crawford is a guy who is known to move up the weight classes to fight with more worthy opponents, and nowadays, he seems to have eyes on Canelo. This fight is also not 100% confirmed yet, as Terence has to reach 168 pounds to be considered a challenge against the mighty Canelo in the heavyweight division, but there seems to be huge buzz around this as well. Terence said, I mean catch weight. We can do something at a catch weight. 160? 158 would be cool. Gervonta, with his stellar record, has now become a household name in boxing, and has solidified his place with the likes of Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, and the new heavyweight champion of the world, Alexander Usyk. With his new and refreshing fighting style and grandeur, it looks like Gervonta has become the new crowd grabber, as he has proven countless times in the past that he pulls the largest of crowds to the arenas. Even Eddie Hearn seems to agree to this, despite not being in the best of relationship with Gervonta. Eddie, while reacting to the Tank versus Martin fight, commented on how Gervonta is the new big star, who is the sole reason that this fight was this big and was able to make a huge sum of money. Eddie said, I saw the knockout. I think Gervonta is a big star, very entertaining. I mean, he carried that whole promotion. He's changed quite a lot. I think he's become a lot more articulate, and I think he's become a lot more commercially savvy. Even though he didn't turn up to the arrivals, which is never ideal, he's carrying the whole promotion himself like there's no promoter. Eddie also said how this new and improved Gervonta is someone that everyone wants to see more of in the future, with possible fights against some of the big names in his division such as Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, and Devin Haney. These potential fights can not only be a huge money grabber, but according to Hearn, can also make Gervonta become one of the best fighters of this era, as no one is doing things like he is. Eddie added, he's having to do all the speaking. He has to do all the entertaining, the interaction, and he's very heavy-handed. I hope that we can see him in some big fights. I don't think his resume can be so much better, and I think he has the ability to be all of those guys maybe, but I would love to see him fight Teofimo, to fight Shakur, to fight Devin. I mean, he has a real opportunity to be a great in his time. These comments made by Hearn about Gervonta not having any promoter in the recent fights he was in have resulted in the past drama surrounding him and Floyd Mayweather to reignite. Going back to 2022, things started heating up between the two when Gervonta decided to leave the Mayweather Productions. At first, no one knew the reason for this rift, but lately, things seem to unravel.
About your first time GTD, what's the plans for that and how big it is to finally get your first one?
This just a test run right now, just a, you know what I mean? I'm on my own type of joint, but much love to Mayweather Promotion, you know what I mean? Leonard, Floyd, all them guys, I definitely appreciate them, you know what I mean? But, you know what I mean, I'm just doing my own thing now, you know what I mean? Not saying in the future we can't work together or anything like that, but just trying to, you know what I mean, put my own pass on.
So how's your relationship with Floyd though? Is he still part of your camping crew or something? No.
Floyd outdoing him. He always been like that, you know what I mean? Shit, we involved, heavy, deeply. You know what I mean? We in there. You know what I mean? And I'm excited.
If we look at the root cause of this rift, it all started when Floyd made some comments on how he prefers to save money and is not supportive of the spending habits that most fighters these days have. Gervonta, after these comments appeared triggered, went onto social media to call him a fraud and how he is not a good promoter as he only looks out for his own personal gains. He has also come recently with various statements on how he is doing much better now, and he has become so much bigger than he ever was while he was in contract with Mayweather Promotions. Tank also said how, despite all the criticism, he has proved time and time again that he is a much bigger deal than Floyd himself. He said, I'm at that point where I have surpassed him, and I'm doing it at a young age than like when Floyd was 29. You'll see, this deal that I'm talking about, he doesn't know about that yet, but that's bigger than his deal. Being a notable boxing commentator, Showbiz the Adult has made some controversial statements on how leaving Mayweather was the best ever decision made by Gervonta, even though many did not agree with his point of view, saying that leaving someone like Floyd could be damaging for Tank's career. Showbiz has said countless times that the real era of Gervonta has now begun. Clarifying his remarks, Showbiz said that the claims made by many regarding Floyd are true, and that he is only concerned about making money and profit for his company rather than making a lifetime legacy, which is not something many fighters like Tank are looking for.
Honestly, I'm not sure how good Floyd is for fighters because Floyd thinks like money. He doesn't think like pretty boy. So when he's bringing his fighters up, he thinks money. Currency over legacy. That hurts a fighter career. It does. That's why I said Tank has arrived. And a lot of you guys said Tank's been here. I said, no, Tank has arrived now. He's his own man. I remember when Floyd Mayweather arrived. I remember when he left Bob Arrow. I remember when Roy Jones Jr. arrived. I remember when he left his father, bruh. And that's right now for Gervonta Davis.
Just recently, news broke out that Leonard Ellerbay, the CEO of Mayweather Productions, has retired and has been replaced by Richard Schaefer, who is the former CEO of Golden Boy Promotions. Despite no official statement made by either party, fans can't help but notice that this is due to the Floyd-Gervonta dispute, and many recent comments made by Gervonta himself have further fueled this fire. Gervonta made comments like, Floyd is a bitter bitch, and if you sign with this fraud, he will f up your career. He is not a good businessman at all. With the drama coming to light again, both Gervonta and Floyd have engaged in a tense back and forth. There were even claims made by many authentic sources that Floyd may be partaking in activities to sabotage Gervonta. This claim was later verified by Tank himself, who lashed out at Floyd for backstabbing him and giving tips to Frank Martin before their fight. Gervonta claimed, he's the one who told Frank that I was running at 5 or 7 morning Friday. He said that he was going to give Frank tips. I have seen his people's drive-by, but not letting this whole ordeal affect him, Gervonta looks laser-focused on his mission of fighting more and more big names, including the one and only Shakur Stevenson. Now, like the expected fight with Terence, this fight has also been one of the most talked about fights in the last few years, as both boxers are in their prime and have been on remarkable winning streaks. After the great fight between Frank Martin and Gervonta, many pros and fans believe that it's finally time for a fight between these two, as Shakur and Devin have been on Gervonta's hit list for a very long time. time. Shakur himself has come forward to comment on when the fans can finally expect this battle to take place. Shakur said, "Me and Tank will be the biggest boxing fight in the world when it happens. I can see this fight happening not too far in the future. I think Tank will sign the contract, and I am going to sign the contract too." With this head start made by Shakur, Gervonta's team is also hyped up for the upcoming battle, and Leonard Alurbe has also come forward to tell the world that this is the era of Gervonta now, as he is going to beat the top guys one after another and will become the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world, and to prove all his haters wrong.
He has a hit list, and he's going to get every one of these guys who y'all say are the top guys. Trust me. Shakur's going to get that work. He asking for it, he going to get that work. But it ain't what he think it is. I can't wait for it to happen, though.
How confident you are Tank could be fighting someone like a Devin Haney or a Shakur, a Lomachenko next? Do you see that kind of a fight happening for Tank?
All these guys who you guys say are the top guys out there, Tank gonna get every one of these guys. He just can't fight them all in one night. He done already got Ryan Garcia out the way. Next is Frank Martin on the hit list.
With this fight happening soon, Bud has also come out to give his views about this battle between Tank and Shakur. Bud, who is the next competitor in Gervonta's sight, emphasized that Tank is a formidable opponent and very hard to beat. He added that this new and improved Gervonta has power and stamina like we have never seen before, and can prove to be the toughest fight in Shakur's career. He said, "One thing I can say about Tank is that he is smart, he can box, and he is explosive. I see this being Shakur's toughest fight because of the power." Moving on to Terence Crawford and Gervonta's battle, these two have been at each other's throats for a long time, throwing subtle shade with Gervonta calling Bud out many times. Hilariously, there were also comments made by Gervonta about how he would easily defeat Crawford, as he is weak compared to him and does not have the powerful chin that he claims to have.
147? Shit, if I
147.
tap that chin, you know he going to sleep.
I already know.
I
already know
he
he
ain't
is.
got no chance.
Reacting to this particular comment, Terence kept his usual calm composure and casually threw shots back at Gervonta by saying that if he thinks that he can defeat him, then he should come at 147 and fight this supposed weak glass chin. He also commented on how he will wait, but once he has gone above 147, he will not be back. Terence added that he is not exactly sure about this fight, as he is not really going to gain from this, as people will start to make comments on how he fought a shorter guy, so it was easy for him.
He said I got a glass chin. So tell him to come and touch it.
Wow. Devontae said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147.
Oh,
I'll make 147.
Ooh, see, oh man. You're gonna have a pre-camp.
Then what the people gonna say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
I don't know. The people might want to see that one though, bro. That's just for the spectacle of it.
That's the only thing left really after like with 154 after he beat the Charlo brother. I mean, what's really next? I mean,
I'm not coming back down.
That's
when
what I'm saying.
go up, I'm not coming back down.
About this fight with Tank, Terence stated that he is at the level right now where he seems to be getting called out a lot, which just goes to show how far he has come. But still, on the topic of Gervonta, Terence seems to think he is just too small for him, even though he is a vicious fighter. He stated, "You know when you look at all the great fighters that were getting called out by everybody from different weight classes, so it's nothing you know that I'm not surprised about." He further added, "Everybody says you know what they'll do, but Tank is in his weight class for a reason, and I don't see him coming up to 147 to face me anytime soon." For all the viewers around the world, things seem to be getting more and more exciting as the question of who is calling out who, and who is going to go up against who next, continue to pop up. Just last week, some new questions were added to their minds by none other than Teofimo Lopez, who went to the Danza Project and gave an explosive interview calling out names ranging from Gervonta to Terence Crawford. Back from a short break after his spectacular win against Jermaine Ortiz earlier this year, Teo is now on a hunt for bigger and better fights, and who better to call than the Tank, who is reigning the boxing scene right now? Teofimo, while talking about all the fights that he wanted but never happened, called out Gervonta Davis while throwing shade at him for not facing him in the ring despite various opportunities. He said, "I tried to fight Isaac Cruz? They said no. Subriel Matias complained about his hand, but now he is fighting in June and I am fighting in June. We could have made the fight happen. They didn't want it." And then after that, Devin Haney had that situation with Ryan Garcia. Everybody keeps on bringing Tank. Gervonta, they got him. He ain't gonna fight me. The two put to fight me. Not seeing Gervonta in the same light as others do, Teofimo remarks how Gervonta has been coddled by everyone around him and has become soft, whereas fighters like himself have to go through various trials and problems to reach the points that they are at. Teofimo then went on to say how Gervonta is a good fighter, and he has good skills, but he complains all the time about everything. He said, "Both Gervonta and I have speed, power, and boxing IQ, but I wasn't handed any of this. I'm the real deal. I don't wipe away blood when I'm bleeding, I fight," and he whines. Teofimo also brought up a sparring session that they had way back when he was only 15 years old, and Tank was 18. According to Teo, in that fight, Gervonta complained after getting his hand injured, which showed him and everyone involved that he is weak and not really made for hard, heavy hitting. Teo added, "When we spared, he hit me on the nose and hurt his hand. He was like, oh damn, I was 15, and he was 18. With this sparring video out in the open again, Teofimo Lopez SR came out to say how Gervonta is not the great and better boxer everyone thinks him to be. He commented on how even when Teo was only 15, he was able to hold himself very well against him. When asked about his thoughts on Tank in that fight, Lopez SR said that Tank is not that hard to beat because throughout the fight they noticed that he lacks good technique and skills. He further emphasized that Tank's kryptonite is someone who knows how to box and move around a lot.
Because my son already faced Tank when he was only 15 years old, and Tank was about 30 pounds bigger than him, and when we sparred him, and my son, did really good with him, even though, because Tank at that time, I worked with my son, and he wasn't even working in that sparring session. My son was about 30 pounds smaller than him. Tank already was 6-0 with 6 knockouts. And my son was still an amateur. My son was only 15 years old. Tank was 18. And anybody that wants to see that sparring match, man, they could go to YouTube and put Teofimo Lopez against Tank, and you'll see the video. To me, he outworked him boxing. The way to beat Tank, you gotta box him. You gotta box him. You gotta be, Tank is scared of the boxers. He's scared of the guys that know how to box. Those are the guys he's scared of.
With this Tank diss, Teofimo also seems to have his eyes on everyone's favorite Terence Crawford. If you are aware of Teo's history, you know that he called Bud out some months ago after defeating Ortiz, while still standing in the center of the ring, and it looks like he has done it again. In the same Danza interview, Teofimo also called Bud for a match once again, while saying that he is the only one man enough to fight him at this point. He said, "I'd just rather go after the guy that's too much of an ego, and that's Terence Crawford." Still, despite all these call-outs from Gervonta and Teofimo, Bud seems to be enjoying his spot at the top, with the quest to go battle for bigger titles such as the unified WBC and WBO Super Welterweight Championships, which can earn him more prestige in the boxing world. But with his advancing age, it looks like Terence has to make a choice real soon, as with this passing time his ranking may dwindle, and he will not remain in the spotlight. So what do you guys think Bud would choose? A chance at moving the weight class to face Canelo as he always planned, or to stay in the 147-pound division to battle out Gervonta to show him who's the boss? So that's it for today, folks. Just like always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and make sure to tell us about your thoughts in the comments below.